Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about whether Toxic Rain is going to be still a pretty good league starter. And to answer it quickly, it's probably going to be fine, but you are definitely going to lose some damage and you're going to lose quite a bit of quality of life. Now, one of the big changes is that they've added a lot of mana multiplier to every support gem, including in power. So basically, you're not going to be able to cast Toxic Rain without any mana cost if you get minus mana on all your gear, which is a bit of a shame. You might need to catalyst everything now, and you might need to run the Replica Conqueror's efficiency, and maybe you'll be okay. But yeah, you really want to get low mana cost on Toxic Rain because we scale a lot of attack speed on at least my current version, which is the Raider variant. So just want to put that out there. Now, I'm just going to cover how big some of the changes are. So first of all, if we see Toxic Rain, nothing got changed. So we survived the nerfs for main skill gems. So let's start off with Empower. We have a 140% cost and reservation multiplier, previously 125%. That's quite a big difference, and it will up the mana cost. And next we have Swift Affliction. So now this has been changed quite a bit. We get less damage, as you can see, down by 10% damage, and this is going to be on the other support gems too. But luckily we run Mirage Archer in our Toxic Green build, so it's not actually too bad. I'll also leave a link to the guide of my Toxic Green build, but keep in mind that is not a league start guide. That's like the end game variant, so just keep that in mind. So now we have 25% less duration of supported skills. Now, Swift Affliction might actually be a bad support gem for Toxic Rain, especially early on. Now, I don't really think this is a good idea to run anymore. So what you would run instead, you would choose the next best thing. And obviously these are also getting nerfed, you have to keep that in mind, but we'd use efficacy, okay? So I would recommend switching Swift Affliction for efficacy. Now your clear is going to feel a bit worse because monsters won't die as quickly since the you won't be getting the reduced whatever it is, reduced what was it called? Reduced duration, and now it's the reason why you don't want to run less duration, which is quite a substantial difference between reduced, is because we scale skill effect duration quite a bit, and this is basically doing the opposite of that. This 15% reduced had very little downside, so that's why we ran it before, but making it into 25% less duration is really bad for this Toxic Green build, so I wouldn't recommend running Swift Affliction anymore. And as you can see, obviously, in that POB I just showed, it had Awakened Gems, obviously, in League Star, you wouldn't be running that, but I'm just saying, you know. And also, Awakened Swift Affliction also got changed the same way, which is really bad, so I would not recommend running Swift Affliction anymore. Okay, so the next support gem we're going to be covering is Vicious Projectiles. Now, this used to be the biggest damaging gem, and now they've nerfed it by 10%. Right, so we'd still use it. It'd still be like a very high damage support gem. Mirage Archer didn't get changed, so we're not going to cover that. And then the final thing is Void Manipulation. So what have they done to this one? So they lower the damage again, but it's not too bad because you can see that it's from 39 to 34, so this got hit a lot less. And now it has quality on the anomalous void manipulation no longer grants increased attack and cast speed. Now increase AoE. Okay, so we didn't even use that anyway. So yeah, void manipulation is fine. Obviously they upped the mana multiplier too, which they did on the other ones as well. So overall, guys, we are gonna have a bit of a mana issue. Especially early on for Toxic Rain, and flasks are like normally you'd use an enduring flask, but now they've made flasks a bit more annoying to get, so in boss fights you're actually going to be struggling quite a bit. So what I'd recommend doing to tackle this problem is you actually want to run life tap as like really early on, I mean. So let me change these links to normal ones, and over here Vicious Projectiles into Void Manipulation. So really early on, I guess you could either ditch Mirage Archer, but Mirage Archer is actually a very big damage support gem for you. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, what you could do, maybe ditch Empower, because Empower 3 like League Start is really bad. Like really hard to get. like on day one anyway. So you can run like life tap over here, and life tap might solve your mana issues, but you need a way to regen. So what you do is most likely probably ditch flesh and stone, and you'd run a high level vitality early on, and that should help a little bit. But you still might struggle with using too much HP, but this is better than using mana in my opinion. So yeah, just keep that in mind. As you can see, our mana cost is 17, so we'll be using 17 times 4.75, right? And let me do this for you right over here. So we're using 80 HP a second, and we'll be regenning 355. So we should be fine in that department. Maybe less recovery maps might be a bit of a problem. If I did this calculation wrong, by the way, just let me know. I'm just giving you like something really rough to work with over here. But these are the changes I would recommend. As you can see, our damage has gone down a bit, and that's not even accounting for the 10% loss on all or both of these support gems. So you know, I'm not going to try and replicate that, but yeah, we're going to lose a lot of damage, guys. And imagine this is with the the end game setup. We're going to be doing that much damage, which is really bad. Yeah. Anyway, so obviously later on you wouldn't use a life tap, you'd use Empower, right? You'd use it in Power 4, you'd run a level 21 Toxic Rain, you wouldn't run Quality on the default one. And as you can see, the damage is a bit better. So that is everything I think covered. But yeah, I would recommend just running life tap, guys, because it's going to be a big problem. Your survivability, I mean, your mana situation is going to be really bad. And keep in mind, this mana cost, oh, I made a mistake. So this mana cost is including the -7 on all your gear. So if you were to take this off, and take off all the minus mana costs, I'm not like, obviously the damage is going to be bad because I unequip some items, but so say your mana cost is going to be 47. So if we do 47 times what is it, 4.75, that is 223. So it'd still be fine because we're regenerating 338 per second, but it's going to be a bit rough. So yeah, that would be that. Sorry, I just had to cover that just for completeness. And obviously we won't use Bottled Faith. Dying Sun early, you wouldn't use that either. Obviously the bow I have is pretty good, so we'd have to use something a bit more budget. Maybe use a silver bow. Silver bow or silver branch, which one? Yeah, okay, it has to be silver bow over here. Okay. What else can you not use? I guess Kintsugi early is a little bit too drastic. I'm just gonna change some things for you guys to make it a bit more league start friendly. Obviously, Replica Conquerors probably early on. Actually, that might be doable early, but it might be a bit expensive. Just keep that in mind. Quicksilver, Warding Flask, I guess, and Life Flask. It doesn't really matter. Adzeri Step. Breast Stealer you wouldn't use. It's a bit too expensive and hard to get your hands on early, so you just run a pair of rare gloves. So we just get like some armor or evasion gloves, like gripped gloves or sling gloves, right? And I think that would be everything. String of Servitude is a little bit of a keck early, like especially the one I have here. So we just go and get a leather belt or something that you'd run over here. Unfortunately, this is just like how the league start's going to go. This Thread of Hope is a little bit expensive early, so you probably wouldn't go for that. That's a bit too good. Let's try and get this skill effect duration. This is 94. What can you guys draw up? Oh, I guess the cluster jewel too. But I mean, yeah, I'm gonna leave the cluster jewel there because it's too much work to reroute the whole tree. But if you didn't want the cluster jewel, you could probably path up and take atrophy over here. You could maybe path and take the hide killer and overcharged area. You've got plenty of options. It's quite flexible. But yeah, just keep in mind the league start, this is gonna actually feel a bit rough. But it's still going to be playable. It might be one of the really good skills for this league because it's like where you explode monsters out the ground and you can preset your Toxic Rain beforehand. So just keep that in mind. And you might need to... Oh, you don't have to run Clarity, right? Because basically you were going to be using Life Taps, so Clarity is not really that big of a deal. And I think that is everything covered. If I missed anything, please leave a comment. And yeah, Asana's Chant earlier is pretty expensive too. So what you could do maybe is run Despair on Arcanist brand, or you could run Witchfire Brew, something like that. Yeah, obviously these are all default. These can't be all these fancy qualities. I'm not going to change absolutely everything because it's going to be a big job to change everything here, but you guys get the idea, and this is going to be somewhat accurate, you know, of your league start situation. As you can see, our damage is only 1.4 mil, which to be honest isn't too bad early on. Also, the amulet's a little bit too good for this time in the league, but yeah, just keep in mind, you might need to be farming some low tier maps until you can get all your upgrades to transition to the big boy version. This is a 94 tree. I will actually share you guys this paste bin over here, and I'll leave it in the description down below if you guys want to have a quick look, mess around with it, and see if you can make it better, and see what you guys can do early on. But yeah, mana is going to be a big problem, guys, as even that calculation I made earlier, it's going to be even more than that because the mana multipliers are higher. Hey guys, one last thing before I end the video. I quickly want to say that you actually want to drop Avatar of the Chase because they're removing the Onslaught effect from it, and you want to take Way of the Poacher. You still want Rapid Assault for the Onslaught, but you want Way of the Poacher so you can actually generate Frenzy Charges now, which will actually help our damage a little bit, which will be really, really nice. So that's the last thing I wanted to add, and I will also update this in the paste bin. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.